A lot of people think so, despite the Biden administration and the draconian policies emerging therefrom. The belief is that part of what we're seeing now is a kind of theater designed to deceive the deep state into thinking they have power, and in the process help activate patriots by highlighting the corruption and tyranny within the government and the socialist actors and organizations across the planet. Today we're going to begin a series entitled Patriots Are Still in Control: Arrests, Resignation, and Evidence of the Silent War. In our usual style, we'll report on what people think, as well as using fact-checking and critical thinking to ensure misinformation isn't spread in our efforts to try to substantiate and find evidence for a patriotic silent war against the deep state. And before we begin, head on over to stillnessinthestorm.com/donate and support this channel. We just launched our Patriot-friendly direct support feature where you can make monthly contributions and one-time payments without having to use PayPal. This is something you've been asking for, and we delivered on our promise. You can also become a member via Subscribestar to get exclusive benefits and suggest topics for our regular Hangout calls. Thank you so much for the support that has kept this channel alive. Seriously, if it wasn't for the support of viewers like you, we couldn't do what we do. For some context, check out our last video entitled, "Did a Silent Military Counter-Coup Happen? OCTAGON, FREEJACK, and ZODIAC, Contingency Plans." You can find a link to that video in the description. Now, there's good reason to believe a silent war between the deep state and patriots in the military and government is indeed taking place. In this regard, Trump appears to be acting as a political magnate, wielding his incredible persuasion power to activate more patriots and deal blows to the deep state's grip on the minds of the people. Now, don't forget that a lot of well-intentioned people have been deceived by critical race theory and anti-capitalism propaganda. We need what we might call positive propaganda to combat the lies, fraud, and corruption of the mainstream media, with Trump and others acting as a major part of this effort. Now, the following is a list of arrests, resignations, and busts that some believe are examples good things are indeed happening to dismantle the deep state. Now, let me speak to some critical thinking and discernment before we start. It's important to note that we can't be sure if the following events are 100% proof that bad guys are being taken down. When it comes to critical thinking, the bottom line is we can rarely make 100% definitive claims. Don't be deceived into thinking things can be so easily proven or debunked. The only way to avoid believing in misinformation is to consider all aspects of any claim, issue, news story, rumor, article, study, or official statement, and look for evidence to support each side, not just the side we suspect is the right one. So what are some basic tips about how this works? Well, if we find a clue that supports either side, because remember, we're trying to figure out what is true and what isn't, we got to look at everything and build up a case for each one, then we put that clue in a growing body of evidence. It's the strategy of building up evidence for all sides of a question, often developing multiple theories at once. This is the same technique honest detectives and investigators use. Now, there might be a dozen different angles to consider and build up at once when we're doing this. Although we want a definitive answer, we have to avoid this kind of prejudicial black and white thinking and instead use critical thinking to assess each possibility and build them up across time. Hat tip to the Q-Tip Telegram channel for compiling a lot of this information. We'll be doing reports on Stillness in the Storm every week. Feel free to send us tips via the email in description or in our Telegram chat group. First, we have Bob Iger, who on February 25th left Disney as Disney Plus, the video streaming service, tops 100 million subscribers. Now, according to the New York Post, quote, Iger appeared on an episode of The David Rubenstein Show, Peer-to-Peer Conversations, in which he ruled out a run for president, but not a job in the Biden administration. So Iger might actually show up in the Biden administration at some point, or potentially elsewhere, who knows. Moving on, Governor Cuomo's top lawyer, Kumiki Gibson, announced she was leaving the administration. I informed the executive chambers a month ago that I planned to leave state service and have accepted a position at a nationally prominent non-for-profit organization. Kosovo's foreign minister resigned after allegations were made that she rigged the vote to win her seat, which included bribing election officials. Meliza Haradi Naistebla posted her resignation on Facebook, denying media allegations of her bribery. And CBS News politics correspondent Roger Mudd was found dead at 93. According to CBS News, Mudd died of complications from kidney failure at his home in McLean, Virginia.
Mudd also interviewed Senator Robert F. Kennedy in 1968, just minutes before he was shot by an assassin.
Next, we have one of the hosts of Sunrise, an Australian breakfast show, Samantha Armitage, who issued an on-air resignation. Before we get into one of the bigger stories this week, let's talk about the amazing power of nootropic focus by Ascent Nutrition. Now, no doubt you get the fact that depression, anxiety, and brain fog are major contributors of an unhappy life. Did you know that anxiety and depression have skyrocketed during the lockdowns over the past year? Social isolation has been shown to increase risks associated with heart disease, including higher blood pressure and oxidative stress. Nootropic Focus uses a unique blend of ingredients to support your health, which have been shown to reduce the impact of stress and anxiety. Buy it now at stillnessinthestorm.com/ascent and get your first bottle for 10% off by signing up for the Ascent Nutrition newsletter. Get yourself a bottle today. There's a link in the description. Now, moving on with our list, we have Piers Morgan, who quit Good Morning Britain after making contentious comments about Meghan Markle after the interview with her husband Harry on Oprah. According to the AP, Morgan said, quote, "I'm sorry, I don't believe a word she says. I wouldn't believe her if she read me a weather report." Morgan added she had sparked an onslaught against the royal family. I want to point out here that when popular figures such as Piers Morgan offer commentary like this, it often leads people to accept their views as their own, but without any specific reason as to why. This is the social influencing effect we discussed in the video, secrets of how they make you believe fake news and how to stop it. Now, that doesn't mean people can't have an opinion. Of course they can agree. It's just important to realize that you might believe in this opinion that other people are sharing, especially prominent figures, via social pressure, because you want to fit in with the person offering the opinion. It's important to use critical thinking to dig deeper behind any belief you might have picked up from a prominent figure like this. So always think critically. Let's move on. During an interview with Oprah, Meghan Markle said she had several conversations with unnamed people in Buckingham Palace that expressed concern over the child's skin color. Listen to this clip.
In those months when I was pregnant, all around this same time, so we have in tandem the conversation of he won't be given security, he's not going to be given a title, and also concerns and conversations about how dark his skin might be when he's born.
What? And you're not going to tell me who had the conversation?
I think that would be very damaging to them.
That interview, combined with other events, continue to be a source of speculation about whether or not Harry, son of Princess Diana, and the Duchess Meghan are part of some counter-deep state faction within the British aristocracy. For our next story, we go to Searcy, Arkansas, where 17 people were arrested in a wide-scale drug investigation which uncovered over 100 pounds of meth, 3 pounds of cocaine, and over 40 firearms. In human trafficking news, the Amarillo police arrested 37 people in connection with a human trafficking prostitution operation. In Dallas-Fort Worth, 31 children were rescued and recovered after a month-long operation. Officials said at least 7 of those children were critically missing with ties to sex trafficking. Sad that it happened, but I'm glad they got rescued. A Boca Raton man pled guilty to using messenger applications to send photos of an 18-month-old girl engaged in sexually explicit acts. These people are sick. Now, in my latest Subscribe Star member chat, I discussed the psychological basis of how sexual predators can be created. That video is available in the membership area of the Stillness in the Storm Subscribe Star. Definitely consider you check it out. 5 men were arrested in Western Tennessee in a human trafficking sting operation related to prostitution. 2 men were arrested in a human trafficking operation in Lauderdale County, Mississippi. Okay, so this next one could be related to a takedown operation. NP and billionaire Oliver Dassault died in a helicopter crash in northwestern France. According to the BBC, quote, the MP from the center-right Republicans was considered the 361st richest man in the world, worth an estimated $7.3 billion, according to Forbes. France's civil aviation authorities said in a tweet that the helicopter, an AS-350 Uriel, had crashed on takeoff from private land. Here's an image that appears to draw some connections between Oliver Dassault and the Rothschilds. The Dassault Group owns a 5% share in the prestigious Cheval Blanc Chateau l'Evangile Resec in partnership with Eric de Rothschild, according to the Dassault Wine Estates page of the Dassault Group website. I put that link in the description as well. In another story, longtime Departures luxury magazine editor Richard David Story died unexpectedly, according to a spokesman for his family, who declined to provide any further details. In another story, a National Guardsman assisting Six Flags vaccination site was arrested on child porn charges. And lastly, a Chico State professor was charged with possession of child porn. That concludes this week's edition of Patriots Are Still in Control. Be sure to tune in next week. Hopefully children continue to be rescued and the people that are behind these insidious events get taken out as time goes on. Now, if you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to the channel along with liking and sharing the video. We're shadow banned regularly and your support here really helps. Until next time, Justin